Hello and welcome back. So this is Vera, one of the latest and newest characters that was added to the game. And well, first I have to say her voice lines are very interesting. One of the more unique voice lines so far in the game. And well, some of them do sound very interesting, and I think that she does tell these voice lines in a very interesting and a very suggestive way. Especially this one. This voice line is very interesting to say the least. Well then, now first I usually like to start with the aesthetics of the character, and well, this character definitely did remind me of Attack on Titan a lot. Mostly the weapons and pretty much the overall standard design of the character. Now this is pretty much the free costume that we did get for the character. Pretty much it was a 14-day login reward, and I do like the looks of this costume. It looks really good. Now the default costumes are also looking very nice, and they are also highly detailed, and they do remind me on Attack on Titan a lot, if I were to be honest. And definitely a very unique and very interesting design for a character in this game. And well, I do hope that the developers keep up with the varieties in the character design choices that they are doing, since I think that they are doing a really good job with them. But for this video, since this is overall a special event, I will be using this costume, since I do think that this costume is looking very good, and it does depict the character's personality really well. Well then, on to the stats. Now this is a healer, a dark elemental character, which is 20% physical and 80% elemental. It is a A-class character, and overall this character is a very fantastic DPS. It is actually a very weird design choice that they did choose for this character. She is a medic, but she is doing more damage than some of the elemental damage dealers in the game. And pretty much she is outperforming Phoenix in terms of raw damage. And I do use this character as a DPS mainly, and I think a more balanced build is also possible. But in my case, I am doing this character as a pure DPS, since her damage output and of course her playstyle is very fun and very unique. These are the memories. I do use the first recommended set, and that first recommended set also appears to be the most effective one on this character. And so far I did absolutely enjoy using this character in any game mode. Now as for team recommendations, since this is a dark elemental character, I do suggest that you put this character with the other dark elementals, especially with Phoenix, since having these two in the team is definitely going to be a very interesting thing, and I will definitely play this video pretty much using both of the elementals in this team, of course combined with one medic, and of course since she is a medic, that makes her theoretically compatible with pretty much all characters in the game. But in this case, for pure elemental damage, I'll be matching her with the other dark elementals and of course with the other healers. Now she is a S-class, maxed out, max level, maximum, of course maximum tier, and pretty much everything else about this character is maxed out. Now, as for the skills, here on the screen you can see pretty much the descriptions of these skills, and I have to say they are so far offering a really decent effect, but this character will mostly rely on the charged attack. Her main damage output comes from the charged attack. Pretty much she does have a bar that you will have to fill out, and then you pretty much tap and hold the attack button, and she will pretty much discharge and pretty much enter the dark elemental damage mode. And she does do a lot of damage in that mode, as you will see later on. And of course you can use the orbs to pretty much charge the bar, and you can pretty much use them to trigger the special effects, since they do buff her attacks really nicely and of course really well. Her ultimate is also very interesting. Her ultimate, I did notice that it did recover the bar a lot faster, and I'm definitely enjoying using that a lot. She recovers her ultimate also very quickly, so you can pretty much spam the ultimate if you like in certain situations. And so far, judging by these effects that you can see on screen here, I do see that this character is a very good DPS actually. and I am still kind of confused that they did choose this character to be a healer, since she is a perfect DPS if you ask me. And in my case, I am using this character as part of my main dark elemental damage team. And well, let me first jump in and enter the simulation battle to pretty much show you how the effects look, and pretty much to show you how the basic combos of this character looks. Now, pretty much based on the other orb combos. One orb combo will pretty much be the minimum effect. Two signal matches will be a medium effect, and of course the 3 signal matches is going to give you the maximum possible effect. With this character, I do recommend that you go for 3 and 2 orb combos, since they do still give decent effect, and of course they still recover her bar very quickly. And well, as you can see here, a very smooth gameplay style of the character, a dual katana gameplay, and pretty much a dual katana character, which is so far very interesting. Although I'm not quite sure if her secondary weapon is a katana. I know that her primary weapon is a katana. The secondary weapon looks like it belongs to Attack on Titan, which I think it is a very nice touch from the developers from kind of referencing the game, and I do like that, honestly. I actually like that a lot. Now, as you can see, the bar does do a lot of damage, and her ultimate, when you enter the ultimate, she does recover health, but your primary objective, in my case here, would be the DPS, and she does recover the bar very quickly in the ultimate mode, and of course she does give decent elemental damage output, and well, as you can see, a very easy gameplay style, and pretty much one of the more satisfying to play characters, mostly because of her gameplay style being very fast and very smooth, and of course her combos being very easy to memorize, and they all benefit the attacks in a very balanced and very good way. And of course, once you hit the full bar, you pretty much tap and hold the attack button, and then she will unleash her burst, and of course, after the burst has been unleashed, she will do a decent amount of damage that is actually very good for a healer. She's actually outperforming Aslev in terms of damage, which is very interesting since Aslev pretty much has the title of one of the more convenient and one of the more flexible healers in the game. But of course, she also beats Believe's primary DPS, because Believe is currently one of the highest damage dealing healers. Well, Vera is outperforming her big time, and this is very interesting. Now, I do have a lot of fun playing this character, and well, now I think it is time to jump in the actual combat. This was the simulation combat, and as you can see, a very easy to play, very fun to play, and a very smooth character overall. Definitely a character that I will be playing a lot, since her gameplay style is very interesting and overall very fun. And of course, the fun factor of playing this character is very high. Well then, time to hop in the actual test now in actual stages. And well, here we will see the actual performance of this character. Now, as you can see, I did choose a Dark Elemental team. Pretty much this will be the team that I'll be using. The only thing that I'll be changing is pretty much the primary weapon. I am using Sirius, and I'll be using the 5-star katana. The Sirius is decent, but it is not as powerful as the fully affixed 5-star katana. So the two weapons are going to be interchangeable, and I'll be definitely changing these weapons from time to time. But well, for the first test, this is one of the more difficult stages, pretty much one of the stages that I do like to test these structures on, and it does test the character's overall DPS, and of course, it does test the overall character's performance. Now, usually, the healers in this game are very tanky, and they do survive being hit a lot. But this character doesn't take a lot of hits. She is very fragile, and she is dying very quickly. She pretty much has the same defense and same HP pool as the DPS classes in the game. So pretty much using her as a tank is possible with the appropriate equipment and with the appropriate memories. But in this case, if you're using her as a primary DPS, she is not going to take much damage. So you should be careful. and you should be very careful around enemies like these, since they can kill this character very quickly. So it is a very interesting healer so far, since she does kind of defy the basic healer, pretty much the definitions of a healer in this game are mostly tanky, and they are actually very good at healing. While this character is good at healing, but she definitely shines a lot more in actual DPS. So it is a very interesting character, and I do like that the developers are sticking to the character story very closely, since she definitely didn't shine very well as a healer in the character story. And I do want to talk about the character's personality a little bit. I did play the affection story for this character, and I do say and I do recommend that you play the character story, because the character story is absolutely hilarious. The character story is it is very fun to read, and it was very fun to translate the affection story of this character. Definitely very unique, and it is pretty much what people were expecting from this character. A sadistic girl that is pretty much also perverted in a way, and pretty much I know people like that kind of personality a lot. So if you're into that kind of character, well, this is the character for you. And I have to say, her affection story is one of my favorites, because I had a fantastic time reading it, and I had a fantastic time pretty much translating it. So yeah, that was a very interesting story. Well then, on to the boss battles. She did, by the way, pass the previous tests really well. I did pretty much enjoy using the character, and overall, as a DPS, she is very good. Now, fighting Dark Kamui. Keep in mind, Dark Kamui is pretty much a Dark Elemental as well, so he does have immunity against dark damage, and in this case, he is immune to the damage output of Vera. So pretty much, using Vera against this character is pretty much something that I will not recommend, because it will take a while, and pretty much because of the same elemental damage as the enemy, he isn't taking full damage that he can take. Using this character against Kamui here isn't the best idea. So my advice is to pretty much avoid fighting this boss with this character, but it is still doable. You can still take out the boss just fine. It is not a big problem. And pretty much with the character rotation that I'm doing here, I have no problems with taking out this boss. And of course, using S-Live as a healer is definitely helping me, and of course helping Vera in staying alive, because like I said, she is very fragile and she doesn't take a lot of damage compared to the other healers in the game. And it will be very interesting to match this character with the other characters. Now I have to say, judging by the gameplay style, she does work kind of like Raven in a way. Pretty much that's how her combos work, and I definitely did enjoy that a lot, because of, well, firstly, I don't have Raven, that's pretty much obvious, and secondly, I do like this combat style. Very smooth, very fast, and pretty much action-packed, and people will absolutely enjoy this type of content, and of course, people will enjoy this type of combat in this game, and of course, this type of character. Well then, the Knighthood Ball. This is pretty much the boss where I test out the character and the team's full potential, because this boss is known to be very unpredictable and of course very tricky. And to date, this is pretty much one of those more difficult bosses in the game. And I know Gabriel is a little bit more difficult, but Gabriel currently isn't to be found in the boss room. And when they add Gabriel, I am definitely adding Gabriel to the boss room, since he does deserve to be in one of the boss test stages. I would absolutely enjoy fighting this boss on the nightmare difficulty here. Well then, so far she is doing a really good job against the Knighthood Ball, very efficiently taking the boss out here. And of course, with the help of the team, it is it is actually going to be a very smooth combat. Now, this character and this team will mostly be effective against enemies that have weakness against their elemental damage, and of course in the proper Warzone, and that pretty much means are going to be very effective at the dark zone. These teams are definitely going to be. Oh, well, that was a very close camera shot there. I actually forgot what I was about to say. Well, all right, that was very interesting. Not gonna lie, that was very interesting. Well then, let me take out the boss now. The boss is going down quickly. After this, I will pretty much jump on Rosetta, a character that is weak against katana weapons, pretty much, and pretty much weak against sword wielders. And that pretty much should include this character, since this is a sword wielder, so she should have a decent damage advantage, and pretty much she should have advantage against Rosetta. Well, there we go. There is Rosetta. Let's jump in and let's see what will happen. All right. Well, let me see what I can do about this boss. All right. So far, so good. Well then, I will be honest. I didn't practice a lot lately. I was very busy with a lot of stuff. So my apologies if I appear to be a little bit rusty today in this boss battle. But I think I am already a master at taking out Rosetta, so this shouldn't be that much of a problem. The one thing that I did notice, when this character gets knocked back, pretty much when you get hit by a heavy attack from the enemy, you get thrown really far across the map, and the character is pretty much laying on the ground for a couple seconds. And pretty much, like I said, this character is very fragile, and as such, she doesn't take hits really well. And in this case, she does get knocked down really easily. So you have to be careful around that, since getting knocked down can mean losing a couple seconds, and losing seconds means losing score. And if you lose score, you'll have to retry content, and of course you'll have to retry a couple stages, and of course Warzone and Pain Cage a lot more often. So definitely be careful around that, since that might be a problem with this character in getting knocked back, since she does get knocked back really easily. And that is very interesting, since it also follows the game's overall character story, which I do like a lot about this character. Well then, okay, so far so good. Well, a very energetic combat, I have to say. A very energetic and a very fast combat, and I did kill the boss with Asliv, with her switching in. Well then, this was very fun. This was very fun and of course very smooth. Well then, her Warzone performance. Well, in the proper lighting, in the proper elemental Warzone, she and Phoenix are absolutely going to dominate. This character is absolutely going to shred enemies to pieces without much of a problem. And with this current build that I'm currently using, which focuses on DPS, she is pretty much going to shred everything to pieces. You have no problems with surviving in the Warzone with this character. She definitely does pack a big hit with her charge attack, and she does do a lot of damage. And of course, you can use her in other Warzones besides besides the elemental Warzones. You can use her in the physical Warzones and pretty much in the other elemental Warzones. As a healer and as a primary DPS, both work, since overall she does perform really well, and her damage output in the majority of cases over here is very fascinating and very astounding, if I were to be honest, since this character is indeed very powerful, and this character is indeed a very valid and a very interesting healer, which also is at the same time a DPS character. And this character in this case is, I think, one of the first characters that is more of a DPS than a healer, since most other healers are more of a healer than a DPS, and most of them are actually going to the balanced line But this character is absolutely more of a DPS than a healer. So I think that's very interesting and very unique so far. Well then, this is the second stage of the physical map. Well then, let's jump on the third map and pretty much let's see how she can perform in such environment. Now, I do have the memories on this character pretty much maxed out, maximum affix and pretty much maximum level. Now, the weapon, I don't have her signature weapon. With her signature weapon, she will be more effective. She would be a lot more effective with her signature weapons, and I do recommend that you save up cards for the signature weapon because her signature weapons are actually very good. And you can use those weapons if you like, even the 5-star and other 6-star weapons are going to work just fine with this character. But if you're aiming for the full potential, for the full DPS, you should go for the 6-star signature weapon for this character, since it is indeed very powerful and I definitely enjoy playing this character a lot. She is so far a one of my favorite to play characters actually, and I think I will pretty much make sure to advance this character more. I will focus on this character's rank, and this might be one of my first triple S plus characters in the game, since she is indeed very powerful, and I definitely want to play the character a lot more. And I think people are going to like this character a lot, partially because of her personality, and of course a lot more because of her gameplay style, since her gameplay style is very fast if you're aiming for a adrenaline-packed combat, and I am pretty much going to I'm pretty much looking for that currently, since this is a very energetic and a very fun to play character, and I do enjoy that a lot. Well then, reaching the end of this Warzone, I have to say I am very impressed by the performance of this character, and I am very impressed by the overall character design, very impressed by the character overall gameplay feel, and very impressed by the character's story and backstory. I think it is very well made, and I am definitely going to be looking for more characters like these. Well then, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. And well, with that being said, like and subscribe if you want to support me. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.
聞くだけ無駄よ。大事なことなんて何一つ絶対に教えてやらないから。